Hello, Internet. I'm HamsterBomb.
I'm Timothy.
I'm Zach.
I guess we just decided without saying anything that you're going to be second and he's third. Is that how it works?
Yes.
Zach's always last.
Okay. All three of us are here this time, and this is HITBOX, the gaming podcast where we talk about whatever we feel like in the world of video games. And what we feel like this time is having a fun celebration episode for episode 100 of Playing With Myself that both of you guys definitely work on in the background. It's just
I've
me.
been in some. I've been in some.
Yeah, you've been in some.
I've had to hold the camera sometimes.
Zach was totally on the phone in the last episode.
I was.
Well, I say last because as of recording this, I have actually not done episode 100 yet. So technically 99.
You
and
spoiled
Sword
the
Shield's last
magic.
one.
How dare you?
I have to make videos out of order, otherwise this can't happen. I'm sorry.
I got to be Samus in the one episode where I got to shoot the gun.
Yeah, that was actually Kim.
My ears bled when he yelled at me to take back Pokemon. Not because of his yelling, but because I had to
Take back Pokemon. Yeah, but anyways, speaking of which, so I wanted to do some fun thing for this, like, big occasion thing on HITBOX, and what I decided was I'm gonna look at all of the games that I, in one way or another, gave a 10 out of 10 to, even if it was just Bomb or just Hamster, or both. If somebody gave it a 10 out of 10, it is on this list, and we're gonna put them in a giant bracket and try and talk through figuring out which game is actually better to try and have a winner by the end of it.
For the first 100 episodes.
So the first 100
not
episodes.
Not the best game ever.
Yeah,
but...
so if I didn't review it in this, then of course we're not going to be doing that. But this is just games that I had reviewed. And I want to point out, I thought this list would be a lot shorter than it is. This is a really long list.
Oh, I knew it was going to be
At what point are you going to realize that these videos are just going to be massive endeavors each and every time?
I know.
Can you just accept they're going to be an hour or longer when we record them?
I know. Every single time we make one of these episodes, they end up being way bigger than I expected. But still, we're going to try and be fast through here as we pick between some of our favorite games ever to see which ones we like better.
Every single time that we've started one of these episodes.
I know. But hey, it should be easier because there are three of us. And since we're going to be determining which ones of these, which are randomized, by the way, I did not pick an order for the bracket. I just put them into this thing randomly. And we're going to go through each one of these and try and have votes and see if we have a 2 out of 3 winner to say, like, okay, 2 of us prefer game A versus game B, then that one moves on. And at the end of this bracket has 20 games in it. We're going to do another 20 and then have the winner of both sides go together, and we'll see which one is actually the best of the 100 games.
Zach and I have also gone through these top 100 lists, 100 games, I guess.
It's more than that, because there's a couple episodes where I didn't review a game, and then there's some where I reviewed like 5. You know, so I don't know how many games I reviewed. What I was saying
is when we went through the top 100 episodes Zach and I, found ones we thought should have gotten a 10.
Yep.
In one shape or form. So our names are going to be on this list, and when you see that, there are personal picks. Although I have to say, I personally agree with all the ones that also don't have my names on them, except for maybe
we'll get there when we get there. We'll get there when we get there. And Zach did the same thing. So we'll bring it up when those pop up, because you might see a game show up that you're like, Alex didn't give that a 10, which also would be a minor spoiler. Obviously, if you don't want to be spoiled to what numbers I gave certain games in my reviews, then I'm going to tell you in here.
Just put your fingers in your ears and just yell la la la.
Just
la,
know
la.
I liked these, okay? I like these games. And there's a lot of games I reviewed that I like.
You like to talk about these games. This episode's going to be a lot longer.
Hopefully it won't be like that. Here is our first one. The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt or Star Fox 64. I'm so okay, Kim, I know, you're right. I would have to say it's Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt. I love Star Fox, and I don't want to say, like, just because... We should probably say this, too, going forward. Just because we're talking about an N64 game versus a modern console game, the graphics obviously aren't going to be as good, the game's not going to be as long or as in-depth, but just try and rate it for, like, what it is, and just score it for, like, which one you honestly think is better,
for me,
ignoring
this
all that.
matchup is about 2 different styles of games.
They're all going to be that.
Not about Star Fox's.
Okay,
I am not a fan of Star Fox.
Zach?
Well, I'm going to be the weird one out. I actually might say Star Fox 64 is my favorite of the 2.
Of those 2?
Yeah.
I get to, personally, I know that I really love Star Fox 64 too, obviously, but I guess that makes Kim the tiebreaker in saying that because I think I equally love both. You were like leaning Star Fox, and Kim's just like, nah, it's Witcher. So
I don't like Star Fox.
I know.
I tried it.
I had a lot of fun with that episode. That one was so silly. It took so much effort and work to make that work too. There was so much green screen. Okay, so the next one is Metroid Dread or To the Moon.
I've actually played both of these.
You did. You didn't beat Metroid Dread though.
No,
but,
I just played the first part.
Zach and I have beaten both.
Yeah.
I gotta give it to Metroid Dread.
Ouch! I think I do too.
To the Moon.
Yeah, this is hard.
At least from my perspective, To the Moon, no other game or digital experience I've ever had has affected me as much as To the Moon has.
I'm not a... Oh, sorry.
Metroid Dread did things to me, man.
Well,
I agree, though. That's why this is very tough. You know, I'm gonna say I can't decide, Kim.
I'm going with Metroid Dread because I'm not a fan of...
so I have to decide.
I'm not a fan of pixel art, so To the Moon, that kind of puts it down. And then,
I love the pixel
those
art.
Little mini games in To the Moon, I wasn't, like, a big fan of.
That's true.
Well, the mini games weren't the point.
I know,
Right.
but they were there, and I think it
know.
actually, like, hurt my score of that game. But it's still, like, an amazing game.
Yeah,
I would
it
never
is.
say don't play this game.
You know, if that's the case, if I have to be the swing vote here, if I'm remembering correctly, I gave Metroid Dread 2 10s, and I gave To the Moon a 10 and a 9. So if I have to look at it like that, objectively, I feel like I am lying if I said that I go To the Moon. So, you know,
That's
before
a
we
hard
even go
one.
any further, could we just say, if a game even got on this list, it's phenomenal, okay? It's great. We are... Even though we're gonna come into some, like Kim, of course, saying like Star Fox 64, not a huge fan of, but still.
But that's
I'm
me
sure you still
personally.
say
I
like,
don't
yeah,
like
you
that.
still respect the game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, this is so weird. Super Mario Brothers 1 versus Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception.
This is getting weird. We should have done this by genre or something.
No, I want to do it like this. This is the whole point.
This is chaos. It's absolute chaos.
It's supposed to be weird.
I haven't played the original Super Mario Brothers.
This is the first game I ever played, actually.
But I respect it. I respect it a great deal.
Oh, this is hard.
I'm gonna leave it to you guys.
They're both kind of platformers.
Okay.
They're kind of both platformers. Oh, actually, they're kind of the same game, just different consoles.
I haven't played either of these games, to be perfectly honest.
Right, you've just seen me play
So
them.
this is kind of hard for me to throw in my vote.
Which one did you like watching better?
What do you think?
Okay, fine. Then I think Kim's vote's clearly going to be Uncharted 3. Zach, I'm still hung up on this. Do you have any idea?
No, me too. Because I loved Uncharted 3, but I also have such a soft spot for the original Mario Brothers.
Me
Because,
too.
like you, this was like...
I think you guys are gonna cry over this, guys.
Maybe. Well, it's like... To go back to your platformer thing, it's like when they gave Mario a gun, he turned into a strategy game. I don't know how this works. But no, honestly though, I think as an overall experience, personally, I prefer Super Mario Brothers over
I think I'm
Uncharted
gonna
3.
be
Yeah?
outvoted.
Because, well, the thing is, like, it's so quick and easy to get into. You get into it, and you're just playing immediately.
It is really brilliant how it like teaches you how to play the game as you start playing
And with
that game.
Uncharted 3, you have to pay more attention to a story. You got to have the context for what you're doing. It doesn't
Right.
necessarily slow it down, but if I had to choose in a pinch, like if I wanted to revisit Uncharted 3 or Super Mario Brothers, I would probably go with Super Mario Brothers.
Easy, but I
Yeah.
kind of see that as like wanting to revisit a movie versus a game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put Uncharted down, but
No, yeah.
if you're looking at those two, Uncharted 3 plays more like a really awesome movie that I really liked.
Yep.
And sure, I related and had much more
See, that's
attachment to
why-
the characters, but
Yeah.
I love Mario.
But see, that's why I feel like me saying Uncharted 3 isn't fair, because that is like watching a movie and
But it's a
then
game.
playing.
It is still a game.
It is still a game.
I mean, if you played it, I think you would know painfully well that game can get difficult
If I
too.
look
Yeah.
at this and I think of a game that I want to play out of these two, it's definitely Uncharted
Mario
3.
1. If I'm saying I want to play it, it's Mario 1.
I think
think
it's Mario.
I think
yes.
Zach and I are just showing our age. It's Mario
I
1.
think it's Mario.
Yep, 33 and getting older.
Yeah. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, Alex, I'm sorry.
I
haven't played
Metroid
either of
Prime. I
these.
gotta, just in case you're just listening, Metroid
Oh.
Prime versus Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
I haven't played either of these, but I'm a huge Xeno fan, so I'm throwing in my
gosh. Actually,
vote for Xeno.
Xenoblade Chronicles, technically a definitive edition, is the one that we're kind of covering here. Though the one that
beautiful.
I played fully was the one on the Nintendo Wii, and we own the definitive edition, and I really want to play it. I'm just trying to whittle down my to playlist, which is
like, as I've mentioned to Alex, and it makes him really uncomfortable. The sexual tension between me and Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I don't understand what she means by
like,
that.
It's sitting there, and I'm like, I can play it, but I'm like, no, I got so many other games to play. But, oh man, it is one sexy-looking game, and I just want to play that game.
The sensual allure. Yes.
But we're not talking about 3.
It is so good. That's another 10
We are talking about 1.
Oh, so
and that's
good.
the reason why I brought that up, though, is because I want to play the first one. I know I don't need to. I don't need to.
You have at least hands-on played Xenoblade Chronicles at one point.
Yes.
So, yeah, I can see that would be the one that you would swing for. Because Metroid Prime, I mean, you've played a 2D Metroid, but you've not played the 3D. And that first-person shooting, I know, isn't really your thing. I know you like Perfect Dark, but it's...
I do like Perfect Dark.
It's like that. It's the Metroid concept, except you're playing it more like that.
I know, and I feel like once I do play Metroid Prime, because we're definitely going to be getting a remaster, right?
I hope.
I think I will definitely enjoy it, but I think in this case I'm going to swing Xenoblade.
Zach, help me. I can't do this.
Metroid Prime with gyro controls.
Oh.
Well, didn't the Wii trilogy version have gyro controls?
It had Wiimote controls. You could only play all three.
Oh, right.
With
You mean like with
Wiimote.
the... Ooh.
Yeah, I'm talking about like
Portal 2 when it was ported had gyro, and man, that was great. Yeah, and Splatoon as well.
Breath of the Wild when you're shooting an arrow.
If I'm counting that, well, then you're also counting. You got to compare it to Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which also.
I was just thinking no, because I played the GameCube original for Metroid Prime.
I've actually not played the newer Metroid Prime. I've only played the GameCube one.
Yeah.
Even randomized it, and it's a blast.
Yeah, no, it's a really good game. I have my qualms with it, but yet my other thing is I have yet to beat Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and I too have the definitive edition because the one I had on Wii, the Wii kept messing up. So I said, you know what, whatever. I'm just gonna get the definitive edition.
What he's dancing around is saying. He's going to make me be the tiebreaker again.
Maybe. Yes, go.
So you pick Metroid Prime, which means I have to figure this out. I
love Xeno games.
I love both of these, but to be fair, I'm pretty sure, just like last time for the tiebreaker, I'm pretty sure I gave Xenoblade Chronicles a 10 and a 9, and Metroid Prime 1 a 10 and a 10.
I feel like we're going to have to look this up after you did.
I'm pretty sure I did.
I think you did.
No, I'm gonna make that my tiebreaker, so I don't have to think about this. I don't want to do this.
No.
I'd say Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime.
Though if that were Xenoblade 3, I would be in tears. I don't think I could do this. Oh no! No! This one, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 versus Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt.
You guys can argue this out. I've got no opinion.
Now, me
either
and
way.
Witcher 3, that is a lot of sexual history right there.
Why do you put it like that?
Hey, I'm not.
But to be fair, that does happen. I might have pixelated. I pixelated quite a lot of it out in the game that I played for you guys, but it did happen.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They both made me cry.
Now these are both very similar games.
They really are, yeah.
They both made me cry a lot.
All right, so do we go with generic anime handsomeness or sexy Eastern European handsomeness?
The thing is, Xenoblade is everything but
Noah's
generic.
white as a ghost. You can't tell me anything is attractive to that.
Wow. And I can't even lean on my. Well, which one did I not give the double 10? I gave both of these double 10s, and I know for sure I did.
Oh my gosh.
These are both outstanding.
So
these are both like easily, I'd say, like top 5 favorite games ever.
This is so painful already.
For me, I mean, they're both open-ish world RPGs, right? They both have similar mechanics behind each, but I guess which version of the open world RPG did you like better?
I like the side quests and the stories of the quests themselves in Witcher more.
Right.
But I liked the open world exploration, the characters themselves, the graphics even. the music's a tie-up. I love them both.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But of Xenoblade. So if I
love
do it
the-
like that, I think I love more aspects of Xenoblade.
I love the art of both of them too, so that's hard. Like graphically, I think they both look beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And
different
Witcher
ways.
3 just got a free update graphics for PS5. Which, from what I saw, it actually wasn't as phenomenal as I was expecting it was going to be, all
there's
things
only-
considered. But yeah, there's only so much
It's
they
an
can
old
do.
game they've been
Yeah.
updating.
If anything, I'm excited to see what they're going to do to Witcher 1.
Unreal
We're not
Engine
getting
5,
sidetracked.
yeah.
I can't do this. Okay, we can only spend so much time about this. We got to pick something.
I don't have an opinion either way, because eventually, unlike you guys, I was getting bored with The Witcher 3 after a while.
And you haven't even touched Xenoblade 3, so I guess
No.
yeah, it doesn't feel like you jump in
I
for
don't have an
a
opinion
vote.
either
So
way, yeah,
hopefully
unfortunately.
Kim doesn't make you the tiebreaker. Because,
Witcher.
Okay, she chooses
Dang it! I
Witcher.
was just gonna say Xenoblade 3.
Okay. I am more okay, personally, I am more of a fan at heart of JRPGs in general.
What do you want to play and beat more? Because you haven't obviously.
Xenoblade.
All right,
Carol.
it's gone already. Witcher 3 has already lost. Those two I easily could have seen going head to head in the finals.
That's kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah,
to
but
be
of
honest.
course, this is random. The seeds
Yeah.
are random. We never know what's going to happen here. And this is another very strange one. Portal 1 versus 13 Sentinels, Aegis
Oh.
Rim.
like both of these games.
Ooh.
Portal 1 is a game that you can beat super fast.
That's like a
it's
3 to
very
4 hour
short.
game,
Yes,
yeah.
it is a very short game.
You can
It's a very
speedrun it
creepy
in
game.
minutes.
It
yeah,
is.
it is
It's
so
so good.
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the best games ever made. And
Oh, but artistic direction, I kind of want to lean just more towards Aegis Rim, 13 Sentinels, more than anything else. And
the
that
story
honestly
is absolutely
might be
better
my
in 13 Sentinels
tiebreaker.
too.
I think we're going to go 13 Sentinels. I love Portal.
You know, I get that, but when I rated it, I still gave Portal 1 2 10s. And I think it was because this is a kind of game
Fabulous game.
I
Yeah.
can hand to anybody. Even like my parents who tell me that video games are the devil. I could probably hand this to my dad and he'd be like, this is amazing. And the game like
It's a puzzle
teaches
game.
everything. Yeah, it's a puzzle game. And the way that it functions, it's so smooth, so simple, but also very complicated and advanced in how the puzzles can work. And it's just intriguing that it's really like one of those perfect video games in my head. Even though, yeah, 13 Sentinels
but
has
see,
the cooler
13
graphics, the better story.
Sentinels has mechs. Done.
I see how biased you
Oh
are.
yeah, that's right.
I mean, do you not count GLaDOS?
She's an AI. She's not a mech.
Well, in that case, then I would have voted for Xenoblade
If you
3
could've-
now, wouldn't I?
Well, no, can she be a
not
mech?
really.
Because in Portal 2, Wheatley gets to basically ride the mech of
We're
what
not on
GLaDOS
Portal
was.
2.
And we're not there yet. Okay, fine. I think I'm going to lean Portal 1.
I'm 13
You're leaning 13
Sentinels.
Sentinels. Zach, you're going to have to do this.
Portal.
Okay, Portal.
Not surprised. All right, Portal. They're both
Well,
outstanding.
my thing is, I think Portal is a better science fiction kind of setting and story. I still have yet to really finish 13 Sentinels, but where I've gotten to, I'm still blown away by what I've gotten. So, I know. What do we got? What do we got?
Okay,
Oh, no.
I haven't played the Frog. Okay, so
I gotta
it's-
say them. The
say the
Frog
names.
for Whom the Bell Tolls, or Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Frog.
I'm gonna vote the Frog.
Oh my god, I don't even get a choice! Well, okay, that made it easy for me.
I didn't even play the Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls, but from what you guys have told me,
It's so good.
I
Yeah.
am gonna.
And it
enjoy
doesn't
that
even,
more.
it's not even like we're overselling it because it's like a Game Boy game and we're retro
But
geeks.
here's-
It is
But
outstanding.
here's my thing. I don't think I would ever vote a Pokemon game over any other game ever.
Wow, okay.
I'm not a Pokemon fan.
Okay, well that made this a lot easier than I thought this would be.
I
the
like-
Frog.
I like Pokemon as an aesthetic and
Sure.
like a franchise, but I do not like the games.
You know,
that much.
also to be fair, I probably should have known this coming. I think I even gave the Frog 2 10s,
I
and
think you did,
Pokemon.
yeah.
I was
think
even
you did.
surprised Pokemon even made it into this. It must have only gotten 1 10, and it was probably Bomb. So let me be fair, it was probably Bomb. I'm looking at you. Okay, what do we have? Oh no!
Aw.
Metroid Dread has moved on, and it is against Kirby and the Forgotten Land. The
That-
two Switch reimaginings of classic Nintendo franchises butted against each other.
You know what? I'm just trying to go with my first gut instinct.
Metroid Dread.
Kirby.
Dread.
Damn it!
I absolutely adore Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I think that's
yeah,
the
me
game
too.
that's gotten me into the Kirby franchise.
Mhm.
Which, if that's what the point of it, Good job. It did a very good job.
It did.
But as a game overall, I think Dread is the better one.
Dread is not clicking for me. I tried to play it and it just wasn't clicking. And I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I totally get it because when it first came out, I bounced off it hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually did. And that's a great point. I think what happened was he had to go back into it and like just spend time going farther into it and thinking like, okay, just trying to remember like shoot all the walls, try and explore everywhere in each direction.
It had been years since I played a proper Metroid game.
Right, and this would be Kim's really her first. So it's hard to figure out once you get into it for that first time, and once you get over that hurdle.
But see, like for me, Dread wasn't clicking, but Kirby clicked real hard with me.
She like and no kidding, 100%ed Kirby in the Forgotten Land.
Yeah,
like got every single one of the trophy things, got like beat everything.
Which it isn't hard in my defense.
There were some parts that were actually kind of tough.
No, as long as you're
spoilers, pretty frustrated. Oh yeah, once you get spoilers for Sword. I'm sorry, minor spoilers for Kirby and Forgotten Land. We probably shouldn't have done that. Anyway, the next one is Legend of Zelda 1 versus Super Mario Brothers 1, same console.
Okay, guys. I'm gonna be the tiebreaker.
Okay,
probably.
fine. Help us, please.
Okay. So
what's a better game?
For me, I haven't played either of them.
Then why are we listening to you? Because you're not the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but I like adventure games, so I'm going with Zelda.
Okay, I get that. You'd be more interested in the adventure game than the platforming game.
Yes. For me personally, yes.
The nostalgia in me wants to say Mario, but the game design critical, I want to say Zelda 1.
I'd agree, Zelda 1.
And
okay, they were unanimous.
Yeah.
Zelda 1?
Yeah.
Well, if anything, yeah, it's not even unanimous. I'm still torn. And if you guys are both saying Zelda 1, let's go Zelda 1, because I don't think I could do that. Oh, Lord.
I haven't played Finding Paradise.
Am I the only one here who's playing Finding Paradise?
Yes.
Okay, then. Finding Paradise versus The Messenger.
The Messenger, that's what I'm going with. I was about to say The Witcher again. The Witcher wins!
Okay, Finding Paradise is very much another To the Moon. And man, this would really be tough for you, Zach, because I know you love The Messenger, and I know you love To the Moon.
Yeah, because my thing is, I love To the Moon so much, it holds such a special place in my heart that I'm afraid if I play Finding Paradise, or when I do, it won't live up to where I put To the Moon. Mm-hmm. So I've been kind of just putting it off, because I'm like, yeah, it can wait, and it's been years.
I know. So if right now this said The Messenger versus To the Moon, what do you say?
Oh, it'd be To the Moon, hands down.
I feel like you would want to say Finding Paradise then.
Yeah.
I'm saying The Messenger because that's the one I am. Okay, they're both on my. That's the
they're
thing.
both indie games.
These are both on my list of like I am playing this next once I get a free slot. Like,
yeah.
That's
and
my
the one
problem.
that you want to play more is The Messenger.
Yes, because I like longer games.
Okay.
That's fair. That's very fair.
That's what I'm going with.
You know, I think just because I love Ninja Gaiden and action games so much, I think I had more fun in The Messenger than playing in Finding Paradise. Because Finding Paradise has the same shortcomings that To the Moon does in gameplay, if we're putting it like that.
The story is not.
No, yeah, the story is also outstanding again. And if I'm putting it next to The Messenger, they're both great. So I'm leaning Messenger. To the Moon's already still in this, so I feel like I feel content in saying that To the Moon still gets to keep going.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Hey, it still made it on the list. I'm happy. Oh no! Dark Souls every one I'm gonna say oh no, I can't do this because I clearly love all these. Dark Souls Remastered versus Portal 2.
Portal 2. I hate Dark Souls with a passion.
I love Dark Souls so much.
I don't know how you can.
I played the first bit of it for like 30 minutes and I didn't want to stop playing it, Zach. I got really addicted to it.
Am I just the odd one?
I think it's a Metroid Dread scenario. If you were sitting down playing it and I was like coaching you through it, because I was actually there with Kim when she was playing it, and I think had I not been there, she probably would have just like thrown her controller, lost her mind at the Asylum Demon, and said, I'm not touching this.
Well, no, the thing was, I got past what's considered the hardest boss in Dark Souls.
Yeah, you totally did. He got all the way up to Ornstein and Smog, right?
Yeah, Smo and Ornstein.
And beat them.
Defeated them, got the Lord Vessel, went down to New Londo, and just stopped. I could not.
That's a shame.
Portal 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that game.
You adore that game.
That is such a good game.
I'm saying Dark Souls, just saying.
Portal 2.
And if Zach's saying Portal 2, Kim, you have to do this.
Dude, I like both of these games.
Make the right choice, Kim.
Oh my gosh, Portal 2 made me laugh so hard.
Hey,
she's wanted to play Portal 2 so many times. And how many times did you make me play co-op? Has it been 3? I think it's
it's
at
3.
least 2.
Hey, you guys can count further than Val can.
But I'm just...
But the thing is, when I played Dark Souls, when you were kind of coaching me, but the thing is, you didn't have to coach me much, because even when I
really
played
didn't.
that first Asylum Demon, I got into the same habits I got into
It's like
Monster Hunter.
yeah.
Keep scooting around it, get in the crotch area
Hide in
of
his
the
balls,
monster.
poke him in the butt till he dies.
I think
So-
Monster Hunter's a better game than...
Oh, those are fighting words, Zach.
You know, I don't... Though there is a Monster Hunter in this. I was gonna say, there's no Monster Hunter, and I
There's
reviewed
no
like every Monster Hunter this whole 100 episode
Oh my
string.
gosh, I can't decide the gameplay wise. I'm going with Portal 2.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Because it's more accessible to a wider audience.
That's true.
Like me.
Yeah. Metroid Prime versus Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
I have yet to... Well, I never had a PS4, so I did not play Uncharted 4.
Got hang-ups about the story. And
Although I can play it now because it's no longer on Epic. It's finally released on Steam. The Uncharted
Finally,
collection.
yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I'm still gonna say Metroid Prime.
I think I'm gonna Metroid Prime.
Yeah, Metroid Prime.
Wow, Uncharted 4 is a really great game.
It is a fan-
Is this the
like-
first one that all 3 of us were like, yup?
This is the second one, I
This is
think.
the second one.
Okay, well, at least we had something so we can do this faster.
Right.
Xenoblade
Xenoblade.
Chronicles 3 or Portal 1?
Xenoblade.
I think that Xenoblade is just...
That's a weird pair up that
That
happens
is really strange.
far in.
As much as I was just building up Portal 1 before, it's great. I don't think it's that great.
It's not.
Like, okay, here, like I said, we're rating 10 out of 10 perfect games
Yeah.
here. So if I'm saying that, this is like...
Why this is making us cry.
It's like you made a tier list and you just took everything that you personally put in the S tier and then you do it again. That's what we're doing.
I have yet to play Xenoblade 3 because I've not gotten through Xenoblade 1, so I have no opinion on it. I'm just sticking to Portal because
Okay.
that's the one I know.
So-
well, and also too, that came out at the right time. That came out around when I was in college and really just like diving into stuff and the memes around that at the time. That was
Yeah,
my
the cake is
first
a lie.
exposure.
See, for
yeah.
I remember playing this a lot too.
For me,
Yeah.
Portal, it was like Alex had to bring it to me on like
A flash
flash
drive.
drive. I'm like, what's this like janky back house game?
Yeah, and you had to like open like
backdoor-
4 folders, open this weird execution file, and then it
Like-
just boom.
What's this like backdoor alley game we got coming in here?
That's how people passed around Minecraft in class too.
Yeah.
It was the same. It was on a flash drive. Nobody actually. Like, that's why I thought for sure that game was free because everyone was just passing it around. I had no idea someone
No,
had to actually buy it.
Somebody was screwing Mojang out of money.
Yeah,
at
I had
that
no
point.
idea.
So yeah, Xenoblade.
Yeah, I figured. I mean,
It's-
Xenoblade,
Once
as
I-
we described, the sexual tension is intense.
I'm not wrong.
Oh no! The Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls versus Metroid Dread.
Frog.
I want to play Dread more. I haven't played either, and I barely. Well, I played a little bit of Dread. That's a lie. And I haven't really seen much of the Frog for Whom the Bell Tolls. But the fact of how much enjoyment I saw you guys get out of it, and how much you guys loved it, it seems like the Frog is more my type of game,
It
which
probably
makes me
is.
want
Yeah.
to lean more towards it. But
Honestly, I think it is, but
Metroid Dread is so beautiful.
my pick is Dread, and Zach's pick was Frog. So Kim, you have to do
I'm
it.
going with Dread.
Really?
No, yeah, I'm going with Dread.
Really?
I'm going with Dread.
Okay.
Had me on the
I
edge of
like the woman that's too angry to die.
Yeah.
the woman who is now a primordial soup of DNA.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Poor thing.
The Frog. That game does things to you.
It should have been released in the States.
I know. I'm still saying, Link's Awakening style remake for the Switch. They've got to do that for the Frog. That
Yeah.
is so good. I would say it's better than Link's Awakening.
I think so.
Both
too.
versions.
Personally, yeah.
What
do we got?
Speaking of Zelda, Legend of Zelda 1 versus The Messenger. Wow, that's tough because that's like classic, big Nintendo game versus an indie game that's not so old.
But both are more searching kind of games.
Yeah, they're both kind of like
I haven't played
Exploration,
either.
combat.
And my argument before for Zelda was I like adventure games, so I'm gonna go with Zelda.
if we ever have a hang up, like try and think of like the gameplay, the graphics, the music, and the story, just kind of like how I do in the videos themselves. And if you do that, music, I jump to The Messenger. That's amazing. Like, I know. Yeah, Koji Kondo is a wizard. Yes, Legend of Zelda's soundtrack is outstanding. But oh my gosh, Rainbow Dragon Eyes in The Messenger. Yeah, I have actually like started adding a bunch of it on Spotify because I was like, oh, this is outstanding. But Legend of Zelda 1 is so good.
I'm gonna let you guys pick first.
If it weren't for that game, like, Zelda 1, that game, like, made so many genres.
Yeah.
It basically just said how to cleanly make RPGs an action game.
I don't know where to go because The Messenger is so good.
So you've played both.
I'm tempted to say The
Solidly,
Messenger.
you've played both
Yes,
of
I've
these.
solidly played both of these.
I'm leaning Messenger.
This is my moment now.
Just
Yeah.
sit there with Tina.
Well,
go,
what? So you were just between them?
I'm
because you really
between
don't know what to
them
say?
because I haven't played
Yeah,
either of
that's
them.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
But The Messenger is on my upcoming games to play
Do you have
list.
interest in playing Zelda 1?
A little bit, but if I'm gonna play a Zelda, I'm gonna play Link to the Past.
Link to
So
the Past
that's
really
my-
is just
that's
that
where
game
I hung
except
up at.
touched up.
Because
for Super Nintendo.
I like the idea of Zelda. It is very much like my kind of an aesthetic when it
Yeah.
comes to a game. So that's where my hang-up's at.
I probably will, just to say it, just to get it out off my chest, well, I'll just go with The Messenger.
Okay.
Yeah, wow, that must mean a lot. So if you've not played The Messenger, the two retro game geeks just liked it more than The Legend of Zelda. Yeah, you gotta play The Messenger. That game's amazing.
It is really good.
Oh, now these are very similar. Portal 2 versus Metroid Prime.
Which one has Adventure Core? That's my pick.
You mean which one has Nolan North?
Which one has
I
Nolan
think
North?
that-
Yes, it's Nolan North.
If that were the case, we would have voted for Uncharted every single time, would we not?
I don't know what to do here.
I'm not sure either.
Okay, guys.
Metroid Prime.
Okay.
Just locking in my vote.
I gotta go with my gut, and my gut was when you opened it, Portal 2.
Real okay. Well, I mean, you
But
haven't
I
played
haven't
Metroid
played Prime, and I feel like I would really like Metroid Prime.
So I have to be the tiebreaker.
Yep.
See, if it was Portal 1 and Metroid Prime, it'd be no contest. I'd say Portal 1. I think Portal 1's the better game to Portal 2, personally. But
I can see that.
They're different.
I
They've
s-
almost
yeah, they're
got
both-
different aesthetics.
They
to
Portal
them.
2 is
Yeah.
like turn that into a AAA experience versus
Yeah.
an experiment.
And
Right,
like
that's-
Portal 1's like it's got a darker tone to it, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's the soundtrack even you can tell immediately. The first one is dark and creepy and isolated.
Yeah.
And the second one is like dubsteppy and boppy and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
But I love it.
Yeah,
for
it's
that.
great.
Like,
Yeah.
I still.
I'll probably go with my nostalgia and say Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
It moves on.
I can agree with Prime.
And we're at the point where I'm actually fine with whoever wins.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You know
say
my
that.
I
vote.
said that! Xenoblade Chronicles 3 versus Metroid Dread.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Wow, these are both
I
like
have to say Dread because again, not played.
you're making me do this, and I gave 10s
Yes.
to both of these,
Yes.
like double 10s. So these are both
Yeah, you
franchises.
have played both of these extensively.
These are both franchises getting sequels on the newest system that I wasn't expecting.
and
yeah,
they're
That
both,
were both everything I would have ever wanted them to be.
and they're both like franchises that were kind of like almost dead, but not.
They're struggling. Let's
They
just
were
say
struggling. Neither of these franchises
Mhm.
were like really in the limelight until.
Until this game, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like it's all of a sudden Xenoblade with 3 is big enough to where I feel like Nintendo should finally stop pushing Fire Emblem as what they kind of want their Final Fantasy to be and just look at Xenoblade. You have your own Final Fantasy. Xenoblade kind of is a spin-off of Final Fantasy if you go back to its roots.
Yep.
If we look at how long they're. I'm thinking like Xeno games, I'm like, they've been around a long time, but like nobody's really like heard of them until Xenoblade. The first one came over here.
Metroid,
And then I feel like
yeah.
it got some. And then Metroid has been like
People
dead
know it because of Smash
ever
Brothers
since Other
every
M
time.
happened.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Dead.
except for the diehards like me who are just desperate for anything, and even watching Federation Force, like, is it worth it?
Did Metroid Dread make you cry? Because I feel like you almost cried playing Xenoblade 3 sometimes.
You know,
I think emotionally Xenoblade 3 got to you more than Metroid Dread.
if I have to say one thing, if I'm going gameplay, graphics, story, and music, the only thing that I don't think is like 10 out of 10 perfect is Metroid Dread's music. I like it a lot, but Metroid soundtracks in the past tended to be a little better, especially after I've beaten the game like 5-6 times. I don't even know how many times I've beaten
And
that game.
it's great because I feel like you can compare these games really closely because they came out around the same time on
Yeah.
the same console.
Oh yeah.
So
Good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a lot easier to judge them against each other for music.
I can't believe I'm letting this beat a Metroid game, but Xenoblade 3.
Yes!
Xenoblade 3 is better.
That's fair.
These are clearly his two loves competing against each other.
I'm not even taking them out of the same case.
It's like a bad harem anime where both of your exes come back to fight over you and you can't decide because you're the boring
That's exactly
anime
what happened.
protagonist. Yeah.
Because, like, look at these. You fought to get both of those special edition versions of both of those games.
Both were a fight, too. They were a fight. Speaking of a fight, we have the Messenger versus Metroid Prime.
Messenger.
I think the Messenger has met its match. I say Metroid Prime.
I say Metroid Prime.
Really?
No.
I think it's...
So then they're both on your interesting to play list, haven't beaten either, but you know enough about them, so... Yeah, you gotta be the tiebreaker here. Then if Zach and I were both that quick onto it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Metroid Prime.
Just to make this next matchup even harder for me, you realize what I have to do now? Do you see what I have to do now? Now it's Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Metroid Prime to win this bracket and have the other half. Yeah, it's my vibe. You know, that's actually really good. Isn't that great? Like, whenever you're ordering, like, a special edition, you're like, I really hope this game ends up being great.
Yeah.
So, I feel really lucky that both of those ended up getting to this point. Please don't make me do this first. You guys have to go.
Oh, Xenoblade.
Ouch, okay.
See, it's once again for Zach, it's a game.
He's gonna say Metroid Prime and make me do this.
I have to because I can't give a good opinion of Xenoblade 3. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It looks pretty. It sounds good. Me like the graphics.
It'll make you cry, Zach. You
know
will
what?
love the story.
How about
love it.
Okay. If I go back to the first time I remember playing Metroid Prime, I actually bounced off of it. I didn't like it too much. And I think it was, I played deep enough into it. And maybe this is kind of similar to how you play Dark Souls.
Yeah.
I played deep enough. I got to the phase on mines.
Oh,
like,
God,
deep
yeah.
into the game. I didn't realize how far I was, but I got deep into it and I realized that there is a long stretch if you've played that segment where you need to get to the next save mode. And even at the save room, and at the very end of that is a boss.
Yep.
You have to fight through tons of enemies, switching between all your beams constantly to survive this gauntlet. And I did not have enough HP, I did not have enough missiles, and I felt like I don't want to go over the entire map again looking for this stuff. And I just kind of dropped it. And then, of course, years later, I played, I think I played Metroid Prime 3 when it came out. And I was like, I'm gonna try 1 again. I tried 1 and I loved it, and I went all over the place constantly. And the only reason I bring that up is because I, not for a moment, hesitated on Xenoblade 3. I was in it, and I was sucked into it, and I never stopped playing that thing for a moment.
He didn't put down. I mean, luckily the Switch can go into handheld mode.
Yeah, right. Luckily, I could just pick it up and go move to the couch instead.
Yeah, right.
I feel like I have to
Because
say
what was I was playing
Xenoblade
something.
3.
Yeah, I was playing something when you were playing Xenoblade 3, and I was just like, oh, I'll just play.
Panel to Pond.
Was it
Panel
Planet
Upon.
Zoo? I think I was playing Planet Zoo.
It might have been Panel Upon, though. I showed it on the Super Nintendo Classic.
No, I was playing that on NSO.
Oh, yeah. Kim and I do this thing like we do what we call Dabble Days, where like one person has to decide a random game that the other has not played, and they have to play it for like at least 15 minutes or like beat a certain
That's
challenge.
how I played a little bit of Metroid Dread and
Right.
a little bit of Dark Souls and a little
Yeah,
bit
that's how
of...
she's dabbled in those things, and she's had me play some interesting stuff too. So far, none of them I've reviewed yet, I don't think.
No, you said the most interesting one I picked for you so far was Zone of the Enders, so that was
Yeah,
interesting.
that was really interesting. So anyway, that was our first bracket. Give us a minute, we're gonna switch on over to our second one. Alright, now we're all set, and we have the second half of the bracket, and I already gasped looking at what the randomizer just did to the very first matchup. Zach's input of Shadow of the Colossus versus my April Fool's joke, Minecraft.
But we say Minecraft is a 10 because clearly
It's
the
not-
world has spoken.
The world has spoken, and that was the joke of it. Like I said, it was an April Fool's episode. I'm not going to say more about that episode because the joke I don't want to ruin in case you haven't seen that one, but this really was in the list just to get us to a nice round number. I still don't want...
Then Zach added Shadow of the Colossus.
You're
in here.
dang skippy, I did.
Zach, you're the one picking between these two right now, I think.
Shadow of the Colossus, hands down. I love Minecraft, especially when it first came out, because I bought that when it was in beta.
Really?
Yeah, I used the library internet at college, bought it, downloaded it, and just played it as much as I
Jack,
could.
you just
I
gave
love
us
that
the
game.
age. How
Really?
old you are right now.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yes, I
I
did.
remember when it came out. I remember when it came out, and
You know how old I am. I just said it.
I played this too when it came out, and I didn't like it at all.
See, that's my friends are all fans of Terraria, and I cannot get into Terraria.
I can't
to
like
save my life.
Terraria either.
But I think Shadow of the Colossus is honestly a piece of art. It is the game I usually point to when people ask, "Are video games art?" Hey, check this thing out.
I have such disdain for Shadow of the Colossus.
Ugh.
No matter how many times you tell me it's good, I'm
Arrow!
not gonna play it.
Yeah.
I agree. The PS2 version is probably a lot better.
Aggro is best horse.
Aggro.
I will never hear anything slanderous against him.
Falls down a mountain, breaks all of his legs, and still gets up and
That's
doesn't
because
die.
he is the best, most
I
loyal
don't-
horse ever.
No, that's Philippe.
This
Have
Philippe,
you met
yeah,
Philippe?
Philippe from Beauty and the Beast stands out for an entire winter, no food, no water, and just patiently waits for Belle to flee the
I thought you
castle.
guys were going to talk about the horse from Tangled, who also is pretty loyal.
That's Maximus.
Maximus,
he is,
yes.
he is a good horse.
Anyway, I'm gonna let Zach make the pick. Shadow of the Colossus.
Thank you.
To be fair, I personally gave Minecraft a 1, and I think I personally gave Shadow of the Colossus like a 3. So,
But your criticals.
or whatever one. I know one of the two I gave it a 3 because I was like, it's technically a game, and we gotta move on. Oh lord, hey, this is one of Kim's picks versus one of Zach's picks. What is better, Xenosaga Episode 1
So, Alex, you
or
know who the
Super
tiebreaker
Castlevania 4? Yeah, it's gonna be me.
Yep.
I can only imagine who you are both voting for.
I wonder. Our names are right there.
Yeah, our names are written on
No, I'm
them.
going to decide to be contrarian for a moment.
This is tough, because I actually really like both of these, but I personally, as you could tell, I didn't give either of them a 10. It's kind of tough to say because Super Castlevania is like a remake of the NES game, which is like my favorite style of what Castlevania is.
Uh-huh.
Like, I really like Symphony of the Night. Zach actually thought, while going through this list, that I had reviewed Symphony of the Night. He's like, where's Symphony? And like,
Yeah.
oh, how can I add Symphony on there? But no, that's probably gonna happen in the next 100.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was like, I really love those games, but I really love the level-based. It's kind of like the Ninja Gaiden kind of thing.
Okay.
It's just old video game levels.
Okay, but what can you say
Saga-
that's amazing about Xenosaga?
It's like
Hand
this-
animation.
Yeah, hand-done animation. The music is spectacular.
Vocals on a PS2.
Yeah,
And
like fully voiced tracks.
I will argue against myself and say Cosmos is pretty awesome.
She is pretty beast. I
This
fell in
is
love with her
tough.
when I was a kid, and then I didn't get to play it until like 3 was out when I was older.
Right.
This is a stupid bias, but I like the Super Nintendo more than the
Oh
PS2.
my gosh.
But I'm still saying I kind of like Saga 1. Even just the complete story of what
That's-
Saga 1 is. Even if you ignore 2
If
and
you
3.
don't play 2 and 3, I think
Saga 1 still has a
fantastic
great
game.
full story.
Okay.
And I
You
still
can
really
play
like
one
it.
and not play the others and be satisfied.
You would be satisfied. You'd probably be wondering what happens next and be disappointed when you play 2.
It's a train wreck.
But 3
it gets
is
really good.
awesome. Yeah.
But
I still
3
think 1's better.
But I think 1's better than 3, so that's where I was at.
You know, I've beaten Super Castlevania 4. I have been playing. I started playing. I don't know how far I got in Xenosaga 1. I was playing some
15
with
minutes.
Kim. I played farther than that. But I played enough and then made like the review with Kim, obviously. So it's not like I made a review and only played 15 minutes of the game. So we still went through the entire thing.
And then we watched the movie version of it.
Right, because I needed to like remind myself of how in-depth the crazy
But that's the
story
thing,
is.
we had to watch the movie version again before we went back and finished 3 because so much
There was a lot of time.
information. Yeah. So,
This is hard. You know,
you want to sleep on the couch
No.
tonight? No.
I was gonna say, if I went-
Dang.
If I want to revisit one of these, I actually think I would want to revisit Xenosaga 1.
That's fair.
Maybe it's just because I can get more out of that game versus
Yeah.
Super Castlevania 4 is just like it's a really cool remake. It's really a remake. It's got nothing mastered. It's a whole new thing and it's amazing. But what Saga is like it's also so important to what like that whole franchise almost died with this. And it was only because Nintendo saw how ambitious this team was that they were able to scoop them up after 3. I want to give it that point.
That's fair.
Just for that.
Really sad that it almost died.
We'll see. This is tough. This is probably tough for a lot of people. This is on a lot of people's favorite games of all time right here. This is Zach nominating Half-Life versus Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Metal Gear Solid because I can already see this was one
Gear.
I didn't give Half-Life 1 a 10.
Alex, giant mechs.
Yeah, there's giant mechs in Metal Gear. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say there's all sorts of abominations in Half-Life too. It's
Is
not
that
like
not a good way to make decisions in life?
I mean, it can be in certain not in this circumstance, I'd argue, but
If you guys knew how many Gundam models I
my
had,
God.
and just like
Metal Gear Solid
much I'm in the
is
mechs.
one of my favorite games ever.
'Cause I was
Like,
gonna
if I'm
say,
making a list of
yeah.
5 games that are my absolute favorite, I'm probably gonna say Metal Gear Solid first.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Link to the Past. I'm probably gonna stir for a bit whether I'm gonna say
You're gonna
Super
say
Metroid or
Metroid
Metroid
Prime.
Dread. And now apparently I gotta say Xenoblade 3. But Metal Gear Solid's probably the one that I'm gonna say first.
I am more emotionally invested in the story of Metal Gear Solid, whereas Half-Life seems a little goofy to me,
it is.
story-wise,
yeah,
for
it
what
is.
happened.
Well, Metal Gear Solid is also goofy in
It
a lot
is,
of
but
aspects.
Yeah.
the storytelling is very different in each.
Yes.
Half-Life is very, you are the player, and you are the one doing everything. You could talk to nobody and just shoot stuff.
Yep.
And the game just kind of follows you. But Metal Gear Solid is more of like, they're both like on the precipice of cutting edge technology when they came out. Metal Gear Solid is more of like trying to have like that innovative gameplay, reimagining what the originals were, and then tell like this phenomenal retelling of an original story.
Yeah.
I see clearly we voted Metal Gear, but I keep looking, whenever I look at Metal Gear, I really want to play Metal Gear Solid. I watched Alex's playthrough of it, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar
It's
with
so
it.
good.
But I look at the graphics in that game, and then I look for hooves for hands on FF7, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, because you actually, when growing up, you played Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
And it's weird because now she's playing stuff like Revelations Persona, and the sprite stuff actually looks really good.
I'm still not a fan of sprites, though, so
love
that's
those
where I'm
sprites.
at. I'm
I
like,
love
I'll
their
take my
sprites.
low poly cloud any day.
But even still, like, yeah, you were saying, like, the graphics, even of the polys in Metal Gear Solid are great.
Oh my gosh, there's this little cutscene at the beginning of Persona Revelations, and it is creepy, guys.
The
It is-
hand-animated, like,
Yeah.
CG man. Oh, it's so weird. So yeah, it seems like Metal Gear Solid.
Oh man, and now
That's fine.
I'm playing Parasite Eve, and like those graphics and those cutscenes. Whoa.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be strange. Ring Fit Adventure versus The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
That was Zach's nomination. I think I gave this one like a 9 and like a 7 or something, because even though I put a lot of time in this is one of the longest
But
Let's Plays I have on my
Ring Fit
channel.
is such a unique game. It's hard to compare.
And when I rated Ring Fit Adventure, I was like, okay, keep in mind, I'm rating this as
Hey,
what
I've
it's
played
trying
both of
to
these
be.
guys.
You have.
I have
Yeah.
played and beat both of these games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I was like, okay, I'm rating this as what it's trying to be,
That
and what
doesn't
it's
happen very
what it's
often.
trying to be is something that's so ambitious and hard to do, hard to get right, get somebody to want to do an exercise routine by giving them a JRPG world to explore and battle through.
Oh my gosh, and New Game Plus is hilarious.
It is. The music, I would actually say, is a lot better in Ring Fit Adventure than Breath of the Wild. The graphics, I'd say, are
They're
on
about
par.
the
They're
same.
about the same.
They're about the same.
The gameplay, obviously, I think we're gonna lean Breath of the Wild. I'm not gonna say that Ring Fit Adventure is more fun to play, though what it's doing is more engaging and keeps people on a regular exercise routine for obviously a very long time. It's doing a great job. It's still almost sold out. This
I'm
game's been out
waiting
for
for
years.
2. I want 2.
Yeah, I'd love more. Shoot.
Man, my heart is so much with Ring Fit because I think what that game has done for me is phenomenal.
That's fair.
And this is gonna sound weird, I actually think it's because of that game I was able to get pregnant the first time.
That's really weird. And I
But
don't
it's
think.
because I was working out.
Whoa,
regularly.
no, not because of that. There's not some weird poses in that. We're gonna move on. Actually, I think Breath of the Wild.
Well, then I just lost, so who cares what I
I was
think.
gonna say, let's just change that. Even though, yeah, I gave Ring Fit Adventure a 10, and I didn't
But
give
Ring
Breath of the
Fit
Wild.
Adventure got me like more active, and that's why I think.
Yeah,
it was-
that's the thing.
yeah.
You're healthier.
I was healthier.
She
That's
was trying to
why
say she's healthier.
I
and
was
it-
healthier because of that game, and that's why I think it helped me get
I
pregnant.
can already
So-
tell what's going to have to be cropped out at some point. Anyway, let's move on.
Dick jokes.
I said that I had sexual tension with a game, and that's what you want to leave in.
Yeah, but
We have
I don't know.
standards on this show. Like this, I am not going to let Shadow of the Colossus beat Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Okay.
Super Smash
My
Bros.
time.
Melee is one
Here
of the
comes
best
Zach's
games
time.
ever.
Zach loves both of these games.
I
know
really
he does.
do. I absolutely do.
I just assumed you were voting Shadow of the Colossus, and you were going to leave me in the middle again, and I didn't like that idea.
By the way, I want to point out, I am like intentionally holding off on doing a round 2 episode on Shadow of the Colossus so that Zach and I both have the chance to experience the other version, because he played the PS2 one and I only played the remaster PS4 one. And I thought it was awful. What he played was incredible. And I'm thinking it probably was because you were playing it on a PS2, and on a PS2 that makes it crazy good.
When it was new.
Right, when it's new. And that changes that
we
game
could
a
make
lot.
this even more authentic. Let's just go find a hard copy.
He actually wanted to bring it.
I was going to until he said no. Don't worry about it
Yeah,
yet.
like, don't worry about it. So, it seems like
My
Kim
PS2 works.
is actually
I know.
going to be the deciding vote here.
Well, I don't know. Zach said he had to think about it.
No, yeah, because like I said, Melee was why I wanted a GameCube. That was my big thing. It's like, I love Super Smash Bros. Melee so much, but just the pure... I don't know, like I said, Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favorite video games of all time. That's the problem. So I think I'm just going to stick with my initial suggestion, Shadow of the Colossus.
I remember just going to my cousin's house and playing on N64 with the Smash Brothers game, and I, like a couple years later, I was able to get a GameCube. I was actually my first home console. I wanted it, and I wanted all the consoles beforehand, but like I said, my parents are very much against that. And I was looking up, of course, because you can't. There was no internet, I wasn't really like looking at anything that I had access to. In 2001, of course there was, but nothing that would like show you lists of new games coming out.
Yeah.
I had to go to a game store, and I was so excited when I found out that they made a new version of that game. That was like my favorite game, and they had it on my console, and it was like double, if not more, of the roster.
But
There
you
was like the
only played-
adventure mode. There's
You played
so much.
64 at like your friend's house and stuff like that. You didn't even own it, did
No,
you?
no, I didn't own it. I played it like in my cousins and I think a neighbor's, and yeah, I just wanted it, but
Yeah.
I couldn't. I never owned the game myself. I cherish Melee.
I'm not a
It's
fan
on
of
you.
Melee, and I'm not a fan of Shadow Colossus.
Yeah, you actually did play some Melee.
Yeah, I personally didn't like Melee that much,
Mm.
but it wasn't a nostalgia thing for me. I played
Too fast, I guess?
Yeah, it was too fast for me.
It's funny because Ultimate's only like marginally slower. I don't even want to say slower.
But
It's almost
perfect.
Melee speed.
It hits that balance.
I think
I think it
Ultimate
does.
animates better, so it feels
Yes.
slower.
Feels.
Yeah.
Melee, you can rack up damage really fast without even realizing
Oh my
what happened,
God,
especially
yes.
with Fox. So there's issues, but it's still clearly doing something right that people are still having tournaments for that game.
Yep.
Even
I'm
though
going with
Ultimate
Melee.
exists. Okay.
Zach, you knew that was gonna happen.
See you guys. I see how it is.
Whoa, Zach,
Oh,
sit back
Zach,
down.
Zach.
Sit
Oh,
back
Zach.
down. We got Metal
see
Gear
how it is.
Solid 3 and Metroid Samus Returns.
Okay, cool. I'm brought back. All right.
I'm back in.
I'm back in, baby.
I love both of these, but I think I know what I'm gonna vote for. I think it's Metal Gear Solid 3.
I think it's Snake Eater. I love Snake Eater.
I really love
Snake
Samus
Eater.
Returns.
Snake Eater.
I was so happy when that game came out.
I have
But
just
Snake Eater
just
is
because
so good.
the
It's like
audience-
everything you want of the first one again.
because the audience doesn't know, I have created my own playlist on YouTube of favorite cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I have now recently been going through Snake Eater because that game looks so beautiful for a PS2 game.
It does. For the longest time, because I was actually playing the Metal Gear series on PS4 with that Legacy Collection,
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a PS3 game for the longest time.
Oh no, you are correct. It was on PS3, the Legacy Collection.
Right.
Which is
or
a port of-
PS3, yeah. I was playing the PS3, and I thought that the
was
game
the
originated
PS3 game.
on the 3 because
Okay.
it looked that good. I was playing, now that's the Subsistence version, I think.
Yeah, that's the one that I played.
It's still
as well.
touched up, but still, it looks great.
Because the original version of Snake Eater still played with the top-down camera like
Yeah.
the first two did,
Mhm.
where Subsistence put it behind Snake, which I think makes
I
a
think that
world
helps a
of
lot.
difference. Yes.
Yeah. So, I
Ooh,
feel
poor
bad,
Samus.
like, even that quickly putting a Metroid game down, but I did not double 10 that one. I'm not sure if I gave Metal Gear 3 a double 10. I'm gonna have to go back and check, but Here's an interesting one. Kim adds in Persona 5 Royal.
These are 2 games I am currently
Monster
playing.
Hunter World Iceborne. Now, I actually did say...
You make me want to puke.
I want to point out, though this has Kim's name on it, in the last HITBOX episode, we actually mentioned, we were talking about this game in a round 2, I even said, looking back at all of the changes in Royal, I probably should have given it a critical 10. Because it fixed everything that Hamster was actually kind of bickering or moaning about to pull it down a little bit. So I think it really should have that, and it shouldn't just have Kim's name on it. And I agree, Kim, this is really tough. I sincerely love both of these.
I love both of these games
Persona
so
5.
much.
Okay. Well, we got
Have
one
fun.
vote for Persona 5.
Oh, Zach.
Because I am loving what I'm playing so far. And I love the fact that it very much gives you that teenage vibe of like all the adults
Yeah.
are crappy and you are the
It's
only ones
so
who can
good.
go out and actually do something about it.
Should have
You know-
listened to our
Kim?
hitbox on this. It's
Monster Hunter.
Make
You
the
have
right
to do
choice,
this.
Kim. Make
wait,
the right
you
choice.
picked Monster
I'm
Hunter?
making you do this.
Ah!
Just because Zach chose Persona. I love them both, so I don't want to be the deciding factor. I'm saying Monster Hunter. And honestly, if you gave me both discs right now, I would probably put Monster Hunter in first.
That's fair.
I love both of these games so much.
Okay, Kim,
You
can
make
you
me
go
wanna
into a
weep.
person's fortress and steal their treasure? Can you tell someone you're gonna take their heart in Monster Hunter? No.
Here, Kim, how about this?
But I can kick ass in Monster Hunter.
If you had lost, you had like no save
I
files.
love these like
In both
conflicting
games.
sides here. This is great.
There's like no way I can, like if you had wiped your
I
memory
can
of these
play
and it gave you
Persona
both.
5 Royal with Clover in the room.
That's true. You can play this on the Switch. Monster Hunter
Yeah.
World does not run on the Switch, and I am a little bummed that they never got that to work. They should have hired Monolith. Those people, they have some
They're
sorcery.
magicians, man.
Yeah,
They are
I don't
wizards,
understand
yeah.
how they get that to function.
Yeah, this is making
Or
me
CD
really
Projekt.
uncomfortable. Royal.
Persona wins. Yeah, that's a
I
great
love
game.
Monster Hunter World.
I was perfectly fine with whoever was going to win that. Hey, Kim, do this too. Xenosaga Episode 1 versus Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
Uncharted 2.
Xenosaga.
There you go, Alex. Be the deciding factor now.
You thought that was gonna be on me. You really thought I would pick
I know.
Uncharted over Xenosaga.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah.
My reason for picking Uncharted 2, that was the big reason I wanted to get a PS3. I got a fat one when those were still a thing.
It's a
and
great
I saw,
game.
And I saw Uncharted 1. I'm like, I got that bundle because Uncharted 2 was
It
coming
is a
out at
good
the time.
game. I'm not gonna deny
I
that.
kind of love 2 over 3, even though I think I even gave them the
Yes.
same scores. And it was because when you go from 1 to 2, it's like,
Oh my god, it's night and day.
so huge of a jump. And 1 is not a bad game.
No, and the thing I loved about 2, when I played it, it was that very much, I guess, cliched moment of, I honest to God felt like I was playing a movie. And
Yeah.
that's what sold me on that generation.
It was so cool.
I'm just
and
in love with Cosmos.
I know, like, and
See the
what I think is
ships.
crazy is that even as the JRPG guy,
Yes.
Zach, no hesitation, said Uncharted.
I absolutely adore JRPGs. They are my favorite form of game. But
if you
Uncharted
couldn't tell
2
from watching other episodes.
But Uncharted 2, man.
I know.
Just jumping around the ruined city in the Middle East and just having to avoid...
Crumbling buildings that you have to run and
Yes.
jump
Zach,
out of, and
stop it!
helicopters shooting at you. I'm sorry,
Stop
Kim.
it.
Kim, I decided.
Hand-animated hair.
I
in
decided the
space,
moment it
giant
popped up.
lasers, Max.
Kim, do you really want this to go up to the end where it's Xenosaga 1 versus Xenoblade 3? Because that would happen. It's Uncharted.
I would
I'm
pick
sorry.
Xenoblade 3.
Uncharted.
I'm sorry. Cosmos.
Okay. Well, this is another Kim-nominated one. We have Catherine Full Body versus
I thought
Metal
it should
Gear
have gotten
Solid.
a 10 because I think it's because that game pleasantly surprised me, which is why I wanted to give it a 10.
Same for the story, the gameplay.
It surprised
Yeah.
me, which is why I
Yeah.
thought it should have gotten a 10 somewhere. But
I can see that.
this breaks my heart.
Metal Gear Solid.
But I'm gonna have to go Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Metal Gear Solid's like, I don't even have to hesitate. That's one of the best games ever made. Catherine is great.
Oh, Catherine is amazing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. It's on this list.
it
It's
pleasantly
great.
surprised me.
Yeah, well, because I passed...
Metal Gear Solid didn't pleasantly surprise me. It made me wet my pants.
Well, because I was... Aside from that, I was going to say, I passed up
No.
Catherine when it first came out. So,
Hollow Knight versus Bioshock.
Bioshock.
I actually beat Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight.
You're making me do this.
Yes. Okay.
I love both games.
I do.
I genuinely love them both.
I personally love them both. But again, BioShock for me came out around the time, again, when I was in college. And this is when games were exploding. And I was being, when I'm just here thinking, games can be more than just walking back and forth in a line and just grinding XP.
Yeah.
You're crazy, Zach.
I thought I was until I played BioShock.
Yeah, that game, I don't want to spoil anything. It really blows your mind and makes you feel like you have so much control over... The character isn't the character's you.
And the variety with which you can go about doing what
and then
you need
the
to do.
story, do we even need to talk about
I know,
the story?
it's so great.
Good.
Now,
Even in that favorite cutscenes ever list, Kim has BioShock in there.
I do have BioShock because I need to have man chooses a slave obeys.
That
Oh
is
my
so
God.
great.
Very important.
With Hollow
That
Knight,
hurt me. That really...
Oh yeah, when that twist happened, it blew my mind. I'm like, oh.
That is one of the
Whoa.
craziest parts of any game I've ever played.
And the fact that I did not pick up on it at all during
Yeah.
gameplay.
I know, yeah. I didn't get it at all either, because it was
And
just
all the
something that
twists,
just gets you.
Even the thing with Fontaine in the beginning,
I
like
know,
that
there's
twist
so much.
is great.
It's up there. Like, if this were up against Metal Gear Solid, I think I would be hesitating more.
Yeah.
And the thing is...
Zach was gonna say something. He was gonna add something.
Yeah, please keep going.
Because with Hollow Knight, like, I love that game
Yes.
up until the very end.
Okay.
Because my thing is, okay, same issue I had with Dark Souls is what I had with Hollow Knight and the White Palace, and then eventually the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
I hated
I get
that last gauntlet.
such an adrenaline rush from Hollow Knight,
Yeah.
and I was not getting that in BioShock. As much as I love the aesthetic of BioShock, Hollow Knight immediately clicked with me, and I stuck to that. And I ran my head into every single wall.
Maybe it's like what you guys said. Maybe I just hadn't explored enough, but I was just so dead set on just getting the game done.
I
Yeah,
was
and I don't
actually
think that's a
shocked
good way
when
to
Zach
go.
beat the game and he logged on for me, and he had, like, I'm not kidding, 10 charms.
Yeah.
I don't know how he won. I do
did.
not know how he won.
I did.
Yeah, you made that game so much harder than it needed to be.
Maybe, but anywho's.
So,
Yeah.
my opinion on this, actually, right when I saw these two, I knew what I was going to pick.
It's
Oh,
Hollow Knight.
And it's because this, to be fair, this is just a me biological problem with my physical body. I cannot play first-person shooters without getting nauseous within like an hour. I can't do it. So as much as I love BioShock, the problem is I would play that game and it just would make me want to vomit after about an hour, and I'd have to put it down. And I want to keep playing it, and then I would just get sick and like. That's not fair for me to pull it down, but
No,
this is about me
I get
trying to
it.
choose, and Hollow Knight didn't do that. And I love
get
Hollow
it.
Knight. I have to give it a
Hollow
Hollow
Knight
Knight.
immediately clicked with me, and I could not stop playing it. BioShock, on the other hand, terrified me.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it's supposed to be scary.
It freaked her out. Did you even beat the first boss, or did you even get through that area?
I think I almost got to him.
I think you were in
didn't
there.
Get to the surgeon.
Like where the
I was,
lights,
like,
like
getting
she
to-
was in the area where they're wading through the water and the lights flash
then
out and you
I,
see
like,
shadows
shot-
on the walls.
I
and
shot too many bullets, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, now I'm out of ammo, and then I ran
she
screaming.
just like
And
screamed and shot everything
I
into
turned
the walls.
game off. I turned the game off. But I love the game. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no! Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past versus Final Fantasy VII: The Remake.
Hey, Zach's played both of these. Too.
Yeah, but I've not beaten remakes, so I'm
No.
my opinion on it's not solidified.
Guys,
I know what I'm
lost
doing.
this, didn't I? I
Yeah,
lost this real
Link to the
hard.
Yeah,
Past.
it's Link to the Past. Link to the Past is one
Alex,
of those
review more Final
best
Fantasy
game ever.
games. You're killing me.
I will. I even
You're
made that.
killing me, Smalls.
What game did I do that? I made like a little. Was it Xenoblade 3? I made like a
Yes.
little plug in there. I actually made that. I was even gonna call Kim out on it. Or no, you jumped in. Like I made sure that we had a cut on there. So like I was like, okay, Kim has been asking me off camera so much. I need to canonize this in the series so people know that I gotta play more Final Fantasy.
Yes, you do.
I just have so many
Like,
RPGs
even
I've been
just play
playing
the
lately.
first one. You're so into retro games. Or
I've been-
just play 6. You've started it like
I've
4
been
times.
playing like all the Shin Megami Tensei games now. It's like there's so many RPGs I'm playing. I just can't.
I'm playing Persona 5 and Persona Revelations at
I
the same
know.
time right now. What am I doing?
Yeah,
and
in the
I'm more
middle.
interested in Revelations right now. I'm like, oh, this game's so
I don't know
cool.
what happened in Revelation. Suddenly, I was at the hospital, and then there were demons, and
It's
Alfred
nuts.
died.
Oh dear, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild versus Super Metroid. Sorry, Zach, Super Metroid.
I'm saying Super.
Yeah, that's another one of those.
Super.
This is one of the
What
best
does it
games
matter what I
ever.
say then? Yeah, I
But
guess.
no, I did want to know though.
I think aesthetically, I would go with Super.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I've played a little bit of both, and of course, I think the gameplay is better in Breath of the
I
Wild.
mean, you beat Breath of the Wild,
but
so I would think so.
aesthetically, I'm more interested in Super Metroid.
Okay.
No, that's
The hardest
perfectly
part
fair.
about Super Metroid is getting over the hurdle of getting used to the controls.
Yeah,
And
that's where I'm
Yeah,
at.
that game was trying to do more than what that controller could do. And that
Yeah.
is the only thing that holds that game back.
Also, too, the way Samus feels in that game, she's very floaty, almost like
Yeah.
they're trying to recreate a lesser gravity.
Yeah,
on
it's like you
Zebes.
feel like you're on
Yeah.
another planet. And the other games don't do that. And I kind
Yeah,
of wish they
it
would.
Make me a little bit uncomfortable when I
Well,
was
that's
playing
you're
it.
supposed to be
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You're supposed to feel like you're alone and like you don't see anybody. Then when you contact any like
See,
living
that's
thing,
the
it's just a
aesthetic
corpse.
Thing.
And you scare the bugs off of the corpse.
That's what I'm saying. Aesthetically,
that's
more
fair.
into
Yeah.
Super.
I get it.
All right, we are in some final rounds here, and this is going to get harder and harder. Super Smash Bros. Melee versus Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
MGS3.
Snake Eater.
Wow, all right. I put way more hours into Melee. I adore Melee,
In
but...
the words of Melee, no contest.
Oh!
Fox versus Fox.
Fox versus Fox, no items, final destination only. Yeah,
at me,
I
scrub.
see that. Yeah, as a complete,
Any-
all-around, complete package,
Any
it's Metal
Smash
Gear 3.
Brothers game versus Metal Gear Solid 3 is gonna lose. I'm sorry, it's just gonna lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we
Oh
got?
my gosh. I feel like we just had this
You make
conversation.
me want to puke again.
Persona 5 The Royal versus
I love both of
Uncharted
these
2.
games.
Oh my god, I know, I absolutely am. I'm loving Persona 5 a
I'm
lot.
going with
You
the-
know,
I'm
I'm
going
saying
with-
Persona 5.
I'm going Persona 5.
Fine.
It has more variety of gameplay than what Uncharted
Yeah,
does, and
Uncharted
that's what I'm
is
saying.
a line. And now, to be fair, Persona kinda is too, but you have so much more say
And you can
in how you do
customize
it.
things a lot more in Persona
Yeah.
than you do
Yeah,
in
the best you could at
so.
Uncharted is you shot someone with a shotgun instead of a pistol.
Well, and also, too, I mean, you can get such good drip in Persona 5 versus Uncharted 2. So, I
He's
mean,
not wrong.
it's the drip.
What do we got next? Oh my gosh. Metal Gear Solid versus Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's out.
Metal Gear Solid.
It's Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
I'm
I feel like
sorry,
that's gonna
Hollow
be-
Knight, I love you to death.
I
but
think that's gonna win this
you're
whole
not
category.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid.
You're right.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Link
Alex,
to the Past and Super
I'm
Metroid.
pretty sure these are your two favorite games, like, ever.
For him, yeah.
And to make it even worse, like I just said, Metal Gear Solid is not the other one. Whoever wins this has to go against it.
Metal Gear Solid, yeah.
I refuse to say anything.
Okay.
You two must.
All right,
I
good.
am going with Link to the Past because I think I would enjoy that game more
I
than
think you
Super
would.
Metroid.
I do
You
think
would.
you
Although
would.
I aesthetically really like Super Metroid, I love the sprites and the way like the world is laid out.
I love that.
But
final
I do
boss and the
love
story.
adventure games. So, Link to the
Yeah.
Past.
Link to the Past. That's what got me into the Zelda series.
Me too. Ow!
Cry over Samus later. It's okay.
You hear that, Samus?
You know, I feel like if I actually had to pick, I might have put this in here because I think I played Link to the Past when I was younger, and I'd been playing it longer, and it was because of that game that I played
Metroid.
not even just Metroid, I played more video games.
Right.
That was like the game that made me like hooked on what I
People
was
are
playing.
gonna like totally be commenting on this and like not agreeing with us on anything.
Oh, I know. Or stuff that I actually
Oh,
reviewed in the
no.
past, and they might give their own personal 10. I'm actually really curious if there are games that I have already reviewed and didn't give a 10, but you would recommend it. I really want to know. That'd be a cool comments thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of really difficult decisions, we have Metal Gear Solid 3 and Persona 5.
Can you climb a really long ladder in Persona 5?
You use a grapple and just jump up it. You frickin' teleport up it.
Yeah, I know, but where's the fun in that?
Okay, let's go one at a time.
They're
this
totally
is tough. Let's-
two different
I know.
aesthetics. They're two
so-
different aesthetics.
Which gameplay do you prefer more? Is that the toughest one to determine?
Yeah.
Let's do the others. How about music?
Oh.
I think Persona.
Yeah.
I
Like
think Persona's
I
got
really
music.
love Metal Gear Solid 3's music, but And it's perfect for that game.
Mm-hmm.
But Persona's
Lynn's vocals are amazing.
And there's so much. Especially with Royal, there's so much. So the graphics, so the look of the game.
Well, obviously, I think Persona 5 has that style.
Yeah, that punches you. The look is so good.
While,
even though like Metal Gear Solid 3 is very polished, it looks great.
Yeah, it goes for a more realistic military vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is nowhere near, I don't think, as appealing as something like
I agree.
Persona 5.
But that's the thing. That's why I'm saying
These
they're
next
two
two
different
categories,
aesthetics.
yeah, but these two categories that we have left are the hardest ones. What about the story?
I'm not through all the way through Persona 5, so I can't comment on that.
You can
Kim and I are not
probably
all the way
assume where
through
it ends
Royal.
up.
Oh yeah, it's a JRPG. I know where it's gonna go.
It gets intense.
Right.
But Metal Gear Solid 3 story is also
Oh man, that game
so
makes me
good.
cry at the
That's
end
the-
too.
so good.
That is the perfect villain origin story.
Yeah.
That is a game when I think I have it really tough. I think I did not have it as tough as this
Big
man,
Boss.
as Big Boss.
Well, at least I wasn't shot in the eye today.
I'm serious. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I think of Metal Gear Solid, the franchise, and I think my life's not that bad.
You joke, but it
know.
actually came out recently in some interviews that scene was toned down heavily when it was finally made.
Really? 'Cause
Yeah,
it
his
almost-
torture scene was much worse.
Wow.
So it's I think story would go to Snake Eater. As much as I love Persona 5 story.
Yeah, but you
I'm
can
giving it
kind
to
of guess
Snake Eater.
where Persona 5 is going, but you're enjoying the ride there so
Well,
much.
what did you
and
say?
the dialogue options.
I think she's going for
Are you saying it's
5.
Persona?
Who knew?
Well, because, see, okay, for story, I'm like, yeah, it's a JRPG. I'm enjoying the
I
journey
love it
all the
so
way up
much.
to. And for me, the story isn't so much the main plot, but it's the characters.
It's the characters.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's the characters.
And that's,
what
why I
you're
love,
engaged in.
and that's what I do like that about Metal Gear Solid 3. However, I love it more just for the storytelling and the plot itself, because it is a Kojima just amalgamation of everything he loves and its weirdness that he brings.
In old monster movies, even, and all sorts of strange stuff.
They're,
that he
it's just
yeah.
so
Yeah.
they're two different beautiful things.
One, I think, is a more focused tale, where the other is a little bit more, I don't know, just... It's, you can tell it's made by a single person and not by almost like a team with one. Like with Metal Gear Solid 3, it's that weirdness, it's that sort of auteur kind of storytelling. Where with Persona 5, you've got that team and you're all working towards a cohesive whole, which makes everything work in that game. But I love the fact that I can tell that I'm playing a game by a man with a vision. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's like...
So, you would say Snake Eater for story, if you had to pick.
For story, yeah.
So, if Kim is on the fence, if we say, just to get past this, that's 2 out of 3. So, we have, of 2 segments, 2 Persona, 1 Metal Gear. Let's just move on to the gameplay.
Right.
Of the gameplay of these two, I know very different. Which would you rather play?
I have not played 3, so I cannot say on that, but I do.
Well, you've seen the gameplay.
I do enjoy third-person shooters. The healing is very clunky.
Yeah, the healing was really weird. It took what the first game did, and you just had to have the rations equipped, and they just kind of chunked through your HP,
It was
like extra
interesting.
HP bars.
It was experimental.
Oh,
I
I'm
guess.
sorry. No. It was, you had to like heal yourself with pulling
you got-
bullets
yeah.
out of your body.
But you
and-
could wrap your bandage and then pull your
Yeah, that
bullets
got.
out. And
Yeah, you could do it all out of order.
Yeah.
That was monotonous, actually.
Yeah, that is the one thing I think. Well, because it takes you out of the game, which,
Yeah.
as much as I don't like Metal Gear Solid 4, I do love the fact that it doesn't take you out of the action near as much when it actually has gameplay
Yeah.
than what Metal Gear Solid 3 did.
If only like maybe it limited you. Like you couldn't be targeted when you did your medical stuff on yourself.
Right, where with Persona 5, I do love the fact that it's like, I feel like I have a lot more tools at my disposal to tackle any challenge the game can throw at me. Not saying that Metal Gear Solid 3 doesn't do that, but I think Persona 5 does it a bit more gracefully.
But my thing with
In that
Persona 5, and this was my original complaint about the game, it's either I'm heavy into school stuff and dialogue, or I am full on JRPG, non-stop, dungeon crawling hours.
Dive into Mementos or beat the next palace.
I like both of these things now, so it's not like before I was just
Yeah.
like, I just want this aspect, but now that I'm playing it, I'm like, I like it both.
Right.
It
Again,
sounds to
so-
me like Persona 5 is getting more of these votes than Metal Gear. as great as Metal Gear 3 is,
I think so.
I think Persona 5 is
I think we
actually
got
getting
our
one.
decision.
Especially with Royal.
Yeah,
Royal
with how much
has
Royal.
perfected that game.
It really has. I'm not going to argue with that. So that's
All right. That
tough.
That was hard.
That was probably the
hard,
hardest
yeah.
one we've had yet.
Ooh.
Oh no, I say that. Metal Gear Solid versus Link to the Past.
Metal Gear Solid.
I think so.
I know I say I like adventure games
think
more,
you're right.
but the story in Metal Gear Solid is so
Well,
phenomenal.
and also too, Zelda got stuck in a rut as a result of this game. Don't get me wrong.
It kinda did.
Loved.
I think it was
Love
because
the
this
ride.
game this game was so good. Yeah, Zelda was just like, don't ever do anything else.
Right.
Do that again.
With
That's
Metal-
why Ocarina of Time just is this game.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least with Metal Gear Solid, it really helped to define video games as a medium overall and where it
It
would go.
did versus a series.
It has voice acting and cutscenes.
Not even
For
that.
a
It has
PS1.
everything's voice acted.
Yeah.
All of your
That's
codec
crazy.
is voice acted.
That's
All the
great.
codec, even the NPCs have canned
The
dialogue.
in-game model graphics are so
Can I
good.
just say-
They can show them for the cutscenes.
I know Metal
And
Gear
still go back
Solid's
to
amazing,
gameplay.
Yeah.
but this is something I find strange. I like the color palette aesthetic of Link to the Past over Metal Gear
Oh no,
Solid.
it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
much more colorful
It's a-
game.
It's so beautiful.
It's
I
a
think.
very vivid and beautiful
I think
game.
the sprites in that game look
Especially how when you go to the dark world versus the light world, how
Yes.
everything not only like changes its color palettes, but like everything just looks more sinister, but you can tell what it was and where you are.
We're sorry, Link to the Past. We're just appreciating
Ugh.
you, but you're not better than Metal Gear Solid.
I have to
In
agree.
this context, yeah. As it stands.
That hurts. And the
does.
final two.
Oh my god.
Persona 5 and Metal Gear Solid. I'm sorry, Kim, this is where it
I'm
ends.
sorry, Metal Gear Solid.
It's Metal Gear Solid.
This is another one I'm hung up on the fence of, but
I
you
don't
guys
know,
would
I'm-
have outvoted me if
I'm
I
kind of
said-
hung up on the fence too, but
Well,
for
you know
what
what my vote
Metal
is.
Gear Solid has done for gaming and for the strategy, it was
Shimigami
so,
Tensei has done a lot too. You might even
Innovative.
argue that Pokemon wouldn't exist.
It
like
wasn't.
Metal Gear Solid. I think was just oh my gosh, and the Persona Royal. It is perfected and it is beautiful and it is a great game. But we are in 2022, and I still want to go back and play the Metal Gear
Metal Gear
Solid.
Solid. That
What's
says a
really
lot,
a shame
actually,
is that's
yeah.
one of the games, like I was saying about Portal, that I feel like I can give to anybody and tell them you should just try this. It's one of the best games ever, and I can't
No,
because
Alex,
it's a
no.
PS1 game.
No, this isn't the. No, we're not putting these two against each other.
We're
are
about
we?
to put these two against
No.
each other.
No.
Yeah, because if Metal Gear Solid wins, and I think it does,
Because, well, you said Metal Gear Solid, he said Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid.
Then-
I don't
No,
have
no,
a
no,
vote.
no,
then
we
that's
can't
it.
We can't.
It's
put,
done. Meaning
Zach, we can't put these two against each other. We can't do it.
Metal Gear
I don't want to
Solid
do it.
versus Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I'm just happy.
You're
as-
about to have a panic attack over there. Breathe.
This
it's
side
okay.
of things got so much worse than
Yeah,
the
this-
first bracket we
This
did.
bracket, obviously, I'm not gonna have it on screen right now, but Zach will do some magic in the end. Bing! So, I already think I know where my heart is, and it's on the PS1.
I have not played Xenoblade 3, so it has to be.
I think Xenoblade 3 is too new for me to accept that it can ever eclipse what Metal Gear Solid is to me.
Oh.
Come on, runner-up in the best game. You don't even play this game. You played neither of these
It's
games.
the crush that I keep looking at
Yeah.
across the room.
It's so good. They are both phenomenal games.
He's making them bedroom eyes, actually.
Okay, I can justify it. The picture at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Metal Gear Solid wins.
That Kim actually talked me out of putting in my review, by the way.
I did.
Because I would have complained.
It does not
And
effectively
if you,
talk about
we're not
that
gonna
game.
talk about what actually it is. If you know what we're talking about, you know what we're talking about.
We're not
I
showing
will
a
say,
picture of
it is the
I-
only,
I
like,
don't even remember.
while it's on screen, it's like the only 60 frames of that game that I go, everything else is just amazing. Everything else.
Metal
So,
Gear Solid. That's,
not a moment of Metal Gear Solid I disliked.
That's not surprising.
Even though that
though.
game beat me up and I was like crying with how hard it got at some points, I got much better at the gameplay once I got better, but still.
That Metal Gear Rex fight, that was the point where
It was
got
so
super
hard.
difficult.
So do we need to order these now? So
I
number
feel like
one.
it should be. You're one guy.
So number one, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Best game out of the first 100.
Yeah, and I think the
Number
runner-up
2,
would be
Xenoblade Chronicles
3. We can't really go farther than that, because then you saw what the other runner-ups were. We had Persona 5 Royal.
And what was the other one?
I don't remember.
It was something good.
It was a good game. I'm sure it's popping up on screen right now. It's
Maybe.
that one. That one. That's really good. Look at that.
Wow.
I
Can
love
you
that
just
game.
insert name of game here?
Insert name of game here is so fun. I had a great time with inserting
Way to
of game
make
here.
more work for me, thanks.
I want you to just voice over the section. Just
But as droll as you can.
just like take out the volume on this whole segment and just go, it was at this point that the editor gave up. And he just decided to put in Shadow of the Colossus just to fight them.
No, but
So, on one thing
I'm
that...
mad I can't remember it.
In a very early game, I think it was the Metal Gear Solid video, I remember distinctly saying, and this has haunted me ever since,
Metroid Prime?
I said,
I think so.
look at how hard it's going to be to get 2 10s out of us. I can only think of like 2 or 3 other games that this might ever happen again. And I remember saying that, and then afterwards I'm reviewing more and more games and going, there's nothing wrong with this. This game is pristine.
Right,
and it is just as good as Metal Gear Solid 1. And to come up with a list this big of the 100
I think you got
episodes.
a little bit more lenient the more you got. And some of
I
these
don't
are
know.
bombs ratings, not Hamster's
That's true.
ratings
Some of these are bombs. So very few of these were double 10s. And if we were going to do that, Metal Gear Solid was 2 10s. So was Xenoblade 3. What's funny though, Persona, my end updated rating was a 9/10, but still, that's still great. And I think you did the opposite. You were a 10/9.
I think so. I think I was critically like a 9. I was just like,
I think we should
It's
wrap
the
this up
balance.
for Zach's
It's
sake,
the
though.
balance.
This is probably going to be our longest episode, even though we didn't want it to be.
well, now
But
I can't play Persona around.
I had a lot of fun making this
Okay.
episode, though. I think if I'm
Yeah.
able to get to 200 episodes, we should probably do this again. Running through all of them and just
How
trying
old are we
to
going to be by that
pick our
point?
favorite. It took me, 3 years to
Okay, that's
make
not much
100
older.
episodes, so yikes. I'll try. I mean, with a 2-year-old at the moment, it's getting difficult, but I'm trying my best.
She loves being in the videos. She's
Yes,
great at
she
it.
is our best actor, and I have to say, I'm probably our worst. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of HITBOX. If you enjoyed the show, you can help us keep it alive by supporting us on Patreon with the links in the show notes and this video's description. For those of you on YouTube, remember to like the video and subscribe for more, and be sure to let us know what you thought of the show and what other topics you'd like to hear us cover in the future. And special thanks to all of our amazing Patreon members.
And let us know if you cried along with us at some of these decisions.
Yes, let us know who
Bye-bye.
let you won. Yeah, bye.